Hello and welcome to Spirit Touch. Where was God on 9/11/01? He was right there in the middle of it all. How do we know that? Remember that big steel cross they found in the rubble a few days later? The night of that Matthew 14:24 through 27 storm, Jesus was on the mountain praying for them. They were in that storm 9 hours before he walked out to the boat, shouting, I am. God doesn't live in the past. He doesn't reminisce. He was, I am in Genesis. He's right now, and he will be at Revelation 22. Let's check out Luke 9:32 through 35. The mistake Peter made here was heresy. Peter put Moses and Elijah on a par with Jesus. However, no one shares the stage with Jesus. Jesus is totally unique. So, verse 35 is God's way of setting Peter straight. Moses started the written word and John ended it. Elijah was the greatest prophet. Can you even imagine what that scene was like? No wonder Peter had a brief lapse. Mary and Elizabeth were there to comfort Jesus. That's where God crowns him with the words, listen to him. Why? Because his voice is the one voice above all others. So that TV song voice contest has got it all wrong. According to John 10:18, he had authority, and chapter 4:9 says he spoke with it as well. Do not play games with Jesus. You either believe him or you don't. Take your pick. Don't patronize him. Please do not make the mistake of dismissing him or diminishing him. Above the altar of every church, there's a cross. Jesus is our high priest. Now, think of that hill with the cross as an altar. The day he died, he was right where he was supposed to be, on a cross above the altar as our high priest. He gave grace to those who killed him and pardon to one of those beside him. It was dark for those 3 hours because they were killing the light of the world. Amos 8, 9, and 10. 3 p.m. was the hour of the temple sacrifice. Joel 3:15 and 16 in the KJV. Don't make the mistake Demas made. 2 Timothy 4, 9, and 10. Hands are open when they are nailed to a cross, when they are ready to let go, when they want to receive. Jesus opens hands ready to take our sin and let it go. That's when and how we got the double gifts of forgiveness and love. Pilate was the first to call Jesus King of the Jews. How? John 19 and 20. And he did it in three languages. Why did Jesus go to that cross? Matthew 27:42 KJV. Why is found in John 11:50 to 52. You see, that cross elevated Jesus. Romans 8:24. This explains why Jesus is divine. To be at God's right hand is the highest honor. Ephesians 1:21 to 23. He is in heaven. He rules the world, but he walked the dusty roads of Israel for 33 and a half years. People touched him and got healed. They heard his voice. That they saw his miracles. Colossians 1:15 and 16. He is the firstborn of all of us. That ranks him above all of us. Authority is in him. Matthew 18:18. He knows your name along with the number of hairs on your head and their true color. He has walked with you. You see, he is still God and he's still human. He will always be both. Luke 24:39. His body became glorified, and ours will too. All of this is why he is our next door Savior. Jesus took a walk on this earth with miles to go when he left. He walked on water. He did it so he could take steps of faith, so we could take steps of faith on the water to his grace, then go walking on the water with him. Jeremiah 15:20 part C. This is one reason Jesus is Emmanuel. To know God is like just taking a look at Jesus. Psalm 46:1 says a mouthful. Let's look at the word present. Why is he such a help? Because of his presence with us every single second. Part of that is because he is because his ears listen patiently. That tells us he is present and he hears our cries for help. Always being in his presence is why we don't have to be afraid, because we are safe in the presence of the King. Psalm 16:11 tells us that our joy is found in his presence. Psalm 139:7 tells us there is not a spot where God is not. Zephaniah 1:7 lets us know there's peace in his presence. Like the hymn says, all that thrills our souls should be Jesus. Not only that, but he should fill our souls, because when he does, then our souls sing. What do they sing? How great thou art. Why? Because it's him living in our souls that allows us to witness and sing his praises. That's what happens when we are SOULED out to Jesus. Jesus was a superhero. He stood up for the people no one else would pay attention to or even cared about. He defied all the power brokers of his day, who were the users and takers. He said things no one else had ever said before. He did what he said. He healed the sick with a word or a touch. He walked on water. He didn't use his power for himself. He gave it all away, even to dying on the cross. He is our Savior hero, our healer, forgiver, blesser, promise keeper, our Messiah King, and so much more. So when you hear that Revelation 3:20 knock at your door, invite the King that he is in and bow before him. Romans 14:11. Treat him like the honored guest that he is. Yes, Jesus is the all and all of Ephesians 1:22 and 23, and he is also my all in all. Is he yours? Is he in everything that happens, good and bad? He is in all places. Wherever his people are, he's there, and we are his people. Jesus was, is, and always be our Messiah extraordinaire. You may send your prayer requests to heanswerstwo@gmail.com, and we'll pray that you meet this Messiah extraordinaire.